Let's go right into the first story. This is it right here. It's from the Western Journal. The story is Rittenhouse prosecutor violates gun safety, points AR-15 with finger on trigger at court full of people. Why is this important? The prosecution was actually arguing earlier on that there was a charge potentially for Kyle Rittenhouse because they claimed he aimed his weapon at people, which is like negligent disregard for the safety of others or something like that. Pointing a weapon at people was a criminal offense, they argued. Now, here's something funny. The prosecutor does this. I don't even know if we can show you the footage of the photo of it. And there's multiple photos because YouTube might actually give us a strike for showing him pointing a rifle at people. But you know what? We're going to do it anyway because this is the prosecutor. And if YouTube doesn't even allow us to show the prosecutor aiming a rifle, finger on the trigger at a jury, then we're in a whole world of hurt with censorship. So here it is. We're right here on the front of the screen. Matt Walsh says Kenosha DA pointed a gun at the jury with his finger on the trigger. There's the image. Let me blow it up. Here's a bigger one for you. Now, this is from behind. This is from one of the streams where you can see the prosecutor in the Kyle Rittenhouse case aiming a rifle at people. Now, hold on. These photos don't actually show you who he's pointing at. Why? Because they can't show the jury. The jury's identity is kept secret. They mute the audio when they're talking with the jury. They send the jury in and out. And I'll even point out, I don't believe it. I'm biased. I cannot believe it that he actually pointed the rifle, finger on the trigger. And I just got to say a couple more things. Here it is with his finger on the trigger. I think I have a bigger photo here. Look at this. Finger on the trigger. Now, there's no magazine. It doesn't matter. There can be a round in the chamber and someone could easily put it in. But I just want to stress this point. People like to talk about how NewsGuard is biased. It's Microsoft. It's Bill Gates. So I'm going to show you right here. Western Journal, according to NewsGuard, has an 82 out of 100. The website mostly adheres to basic standards of credibility and transparency. NewsGuard says this is real news, and they say the prosecutor held an AR-15 rifle with his finger on the trigger and pointed it toward the jury. This is definitive.
Now, Tim, I know you don't believe it. I do, because number one, he's a government employee. Number two, he's chicken winging. I remember the first time I held a rifle before. Right. My elbows were all the way up. That's not really the proper way to hold a rifle. You learn to kind of hold them down and not act like you're doing the funky chicken. So, I mean, obviously, I think he was doing it for dramatic effect. I mean, if I was sitting on the jury, we were talking about this. You said you'd scream because you have a gun pointed at you with someone with the finger on the trigger.
Let me clarify. I wouldn't scream like, ah! I would yell, get down, and I'd shove people to the floor.
There's a government agent holding a firearm with his finger on the trigger in your face that he hasn't checked properly before even picking up. He didn't even do that.
He didn't check it.
Yeah, he did it.
He asked other people if they did. This is Baldwining.
Yeah,
this
it
is
is.
Alec Baldwining.
Yeah. As soon as I seen this, I was like, was Alec Baldwin consulting him? That's the question that I asked on my Twitter account.
I have some personal experience with this guy. So, I mean, my personal experience with him, he seemed totally unprepared for me when I went to go testify the other day. And it just kind of seemed like he wasn't really prepared for what he was doing in this trial. And I can't really speak for him, but looking at something like this, I mean, how could you take someone serious when they're talking about how you handle a firearm or the do's and don'ts when you're speaking to the jury when they display something like this in a courtroom? I mean, I think he was trying to discredit me. I think this discredits himself.
He had you, Drew Hernandez, reporter on the scene, on the stand as a fact witness, not as an expert witness, as someone who was like, I was there, I saw this. And he started questioning why you had a lawyer. Yeah. He started questioning whether you were biased, who you worked for now, not then.
Yep.
I'm hoping the jury can see through what this guy has been doing. Because pointing a weapon at them, I think I understand why he did it. He was hoping that they would feel fear and then be like, wow, is that what Kyle Rittenhouse did to people? He should be in jail. He should be in jail. Not Kyle Rittenhouse. Binger should be in jail. No. Look, I think it's a misdemeanor charge to point a weapon, to brandish a weapon at somebody. I don't see why he gets special privileges in a courtroom, putting his finger on the trigger with a weapon he did not check. You see all these leftists, I shouldn't say leftists, because leftists like guns, establishment Democrats, and they're going, to be fair, he did ask if it was unloaded. That's all he did. That's it.
That's not enough.
Imagine, there's a bad actor. They don't like him. He's a leftist, and when they check the bolt, they pop in a 223 and say you're good to go, and then he aims it and bang, kills a juror. That risk should not be present in any capacity. A bunch of people. I asked this as soon as I saw it happen. I said, why didn't they lock the bolt back? Just
good point.
Lock it back so we know it's clear and it's not going to fire.
Dude, this is like a really bad video game. Like this guy, the Alec Baldwin didn't check the magazine, or he didn't check the chamber. Neither did it. And then like 2 weeks later, this guy didn't check the chamber. And like you said, he seemed unprepared. He seemed like a stoner that went to theater school. like he was getting really high a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I do. And now he's like had it out of his system for a while because he's got a big trial up ahead. Or maybe he's on like Zoloft or something, or some crazy like slowing mechanism, that because the guy is like faded. Now I want to point out, it says that he pointed it toward the jury. That's different than at the jury. So maybe it's like above the jury, down the hallway, past the jury.
Well, no. The Western Journal is reporting that he pointed it directly at
Well, no. It says toward.
Yeah.
But come on, man. What does toward mean?
Yeah.
In their direction.
30 degrees cone around the target.
Right. I think that's a fair point, but I also think, regardless, it's still, like, if there's a group of people and you're not directly aiming at any one person, you're pointing it toward the group of people.
Dude, he didn't check the chamber.
At least have a chamber flag. I mean, that's even common sense as well. But again, he works for the government, and I would run away if I was on the jury.
I want to point this out. Here's what I tweeted. I think anybody who knows guns knows these rules. Treat a gun always as if it is loaded. And here's this picture. Never point it at something you don't intend to destroy. Keep your finger off the trigger until you are ready to fire. There's one I didn't include in this. Always know where your target is and what is beyond it. So let's make the argument he didn't actually point it at a jury with his finger on the trigger. Those walls are not going to stop a rifle round.
Yep.
And he has no idea who's behind those people or behind that wall or whatever. I think this discredits everything he's saying about his arguments about guns, about bullets. You know, the defense made a really, really good point in their closing arguments. It was Richards, the defense, who said, I've been in trials. You know, the prosecution tries to call Full Metal Jacket as if it's a more threatening round, as if it matters. He said, I've been in trials where they say, you know, to the jury, he used hollow points. Those are designed to kill people, whereas a Full Metal Jacket would just go through them and they'd survive. And now with Kyle Rittenhouse, they're arguing the opposite. Hollow points wouldn't have gone through people and it wouldn't have been reckless. And he says, regardless of that, the bullet is a bullet, and making an argument about the kind of bullet, irrelevant. And here you have a guy who tries to act like he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You want something funny? I think it was Krauss, the prosecutor, who said, there's no such thing as a right or left-handed gun. It's amazing.
It's not true.
How they can just say things without knowing what they're talking about. And the funny thing is, I guess you can't actually object to lies. For real. So my understanding is the opponents can object in your closing arguments to matters of the court. So there was a moment where they stated that the Zeminskis, it's like Kelly and some other guy, what's his name, Zach? I don't remember his first name.
Zach.
He said they have a Fifth Amendment right. You know, why didn't they testify? They objected to that, saying they don't have a Fifth Amendment right. They could have called the woman who was convicted, but the dude, this is a really important point in the trial. Whether or not someone has a Fifth Amendment right is up to the prosecution. Did you guys know that?
No.
You think like, I plead the Fifth. No. The prosecutor can say, then we grant you full immunity, start talking. And if you don't, you're in contempt. So when they say Zeminski could testify, the defense was like, we can't call him. He can plead the Fifth, but the state can grant immunity and get whatever testimony they want from him.
But they won't.
And the judge would not sustain the objection. He sort of sustained it. He said, we'll just ask you to move on. He didn't explain to the jury that the state controls the ability of pleading the Fifth. So now you have this guy who has no idea what he's talking about. They have power over some of the witnesses. They didn't execute the search warrant on Gage Grosskreutz, and they control whether or not Zeminski even testifies. And here's the point. This is why it's important. Kyle Rittenhouse got the gun charge dismissed. We'll talk about it in a second. That's a huge victory. But the prosecution stated that he pointed the gun at the Zeminskis. And the defense said, I don't see the Zeminskis here. And the judge said, you didn't call them as witnesses to testify on the fact that a weapon was pointed at them. There's no complaining witness. If I can't see it happen, I can't instruct the jury that it did. Very, very important points.
Yeah. Hypothetically, if Kyle did use hollow points, let's just kind of play up the scenario. I mean, the scene would be so much more graphic than it already was. And already, you saw the state prosecutor play extremely graphic videos, show extremely graphic images during his closing arguments that I couldn't even look at. Like it like sparked a very strong reaction to me. So I do think when he was doing his kind of theatrics, putting his finger on the trigger, moving the rifle around, when he was showing, the bicep, when he was showing the gore, when he was showing the blood, I think he was trying to evoke more of an emotional response rather than a logical one. Because other than that, I can't really understand what he was really trying to do here. Also, there's a meme video going around from the movie Heat with his image state kind of imposed as the state prosecutor in action. That is also going viral on the internet, and I just
with him with the
posted it.
rifle.
Yes, with him in the rifle.
There's
So there's a lot of people memeing.
We
about
can't
this
show
as well.
it.
Yeah, we can't.
I really wanted to. Like Luke's like, look at this thing I tweeted, and I was like, we can't put that on YouTube.
You know, here's a comment I want to make about the trial, and the reason why you're seeing this prosecutor look really bad, time after time, even the state's own witnesses, right? Gage came out and literally admitted under oath he pointed his gun at Kyle first, right? The reason why you're seeing this happen over and over and over again is because the truth is coming out. It's coming out from the prosecution. It's coming out through the defense as well. And when you find yourself trying to suppress the truth, or you find yourself trying to dance around the truth, or combat against the truth to try and like discredit it, it's not going to go well for you. And that's why you see this happen over and over and over again in this trial, and people are just kind of like, what's going on with this guy? What's going on here? Because it's like when you're trying to argue with the truth and you're trying to discredit it and make it look like it's not even relevant or true, or you just try and like take the jury away from it. That's what he was trying to do with me. He's trying to take the jury away from what I was going to testify, take the jury away, distract away, ask me questions that would lead me down another path. It doesn't go well for you. And the reason why it doesn't go well for you is because it all comes out. And when it comes out, people are going to know for themselves what really happened, and that's what's happening.
This is a big victory in and of itself that it's televised, because in a real system with just malicious malpractice of justice, it would have been behind the scenes, kangaroo court, one and done. No one would have seen it. But we get to watch all the malfeasance. I think that's a victory, whatever the outcome of the trial.
Imagine this. Imagine if no videographers would have been there that night.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Imagine where we would be right now.
You know what's funny is
the narrative that's been spun. The president of the United States literally used Kyle Rittenhouse as a poster child for white supremacy in his campaign.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.